Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette. We've got a lot of stories to get into today. So let's just get into it, shall we? AOC proves again and again that she is the leading voice in the Democratic Party. Other than maybe Bernie Sanders or Maxwell Frost or Jasmine Crockett, there's not a lot of really positive news coming out of the Democratic Party. They're just defeated. They're just so damn defeated. And the shame of it is they're being defeated by the silliest, saddest group of fascists I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that's the thing that they don't tell you about in the history books, how pathetic fascists really are. They're just weak little beta boys that follow the leader wherever the leader goes, like he's got candy bars shooting out of his ass. And Democrats are laying down to this. And I'm talking to you, Chuck Schumer. I'm talking to you, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi. It's all your fault for letting this shit happen. I'm not going to say that it is completely the Democrats' fault because Republicans are psycho, absolutely lunatics. But without being able to hold them at bay all these years, these last 20, 30 years of just allowing Republicans to run roughshod over our government and our system of democracy, this is where it's led us. You playing status quo politics, this is where it's led us. Anyway, so AOC, she has a couple of statements in regard to the new budget plan that has come out via Mike Johnson. And the budget plan I've spoken about before, God, I hate being right. I wish that all the bad news that I predict would just be wrong and, be like, Rantoinette, you were wrong about that and it didn't happen that way. God damn it, it's happening. It's happening. Donald Trump saying we're not going to cut Medicaid, we're not going to cut any of the Social Security. They're cutting it. They're fucking cutting it. It is what it is, folks. But there's quite a few stipulations in regards to Mike Johnson's plan to cut Medicaid and health care for poor people. He's requiring work requirements. He's requiring double check-ins for applications for it. If you are making above 16 grand a year, which by the way, who can live on 16 grand a year? I mean, maybe if you're sharing a small apartment with two other people and you're all making 16 grand a year, then maybe the three of you could pull together and pay for your rent and be able to live. But on your own, 16 grand a year is absolutely nothing. And that's the poverty line. So if you are above $15,800 or whatever it is per year, which roughly is about making $8 an hour at 40 hours a week. So if you are making over that, then you got to have some skin in the game in paying more for your Medicaid. And, we're not even taking into consideration people who can't work, who physically are not able to work. That is the reason why they are getting this supplement health care. But, Republicans, they got to get their tax cuts. And that's ultimately what this is all about. The Republican Party is here to service the donors, and they service them so good. They cut the balls, they stroke the shaft, they swallow the gravy all day, every day. If you're a rich donor, you know where your bread, Republican Party, they know where their bread is buttered, and that is where it's buttered. Anyway, so AOC has a couple of answers to Mike Johnson, and she's just being blunt, but that's kind of that's the political climate that we're in. There is no need to sugarcoat it. There's no need to compromise with these people, because if you compromise with fascism, you get half fascism. Anyway, she says that they are robbing you to hand over money to the rich, which is absolutely true. That's what this is all about. It's about a $4.5 trillion tax cut for the wealthy, $4.5 trillion. And cutting Medicaid by $880 billion is just the start. Not to mention what they're going to do to Social Security and all the other social benefits that you need to live in this country. No more of that stuff. You can't have that stuff. You're a taker. You're a moocher. You are a useless eater. She illustrates that the Republican Party has an assignment, and the assignment is thus: cut social safety net programs so you can cut taxes for the rich, and you can make sure that you subsidize big oil and subsidize big tech. And who were the two biggest donors to Donald Trump's presidential campaign, or just for the Republican Party in general? Big tech and big oil. I don't know if you remember this, but back in 2014, Donald Trump, it was leaked that Donald Trump went to talk to a whole bunch of oil executives and says, give me $1 billion and I will let you do whatever you want. And then, of course, with Elon Musk giving $270 million, not to mention the extra $100 million that he gave to Donald Trump when he did his little Tesla sales pitch on the White House lawn. Yeah, he got $100 million for that. Why? Is he running for president again? No. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to find out about that. But, another so it's $370 million just from one guy. He got $100 million from Miriam Adelson, but he got shitloads of money from big tech and from big oil. And that is who the Republican Party is servicing. They are doing all this just so they can hand over a bag. That's all it is. You want a big old stack of cash? I got your bag right here. That's what the Republican Party is saying. And here's the really interesting thing. The tech bros, the Doge boys, and including Republicans, they are saying that with the cuts that they're making, it would, in the waste, fraud, and abuse, because that's always the excuse now. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. We got to get rid of the waste. We got to get rid of the fraud. Coming from a guy who just who's trying to get a $400 million, $400 million jet from Qatar. But yeah, waste, fraud, and abuse, folks. But the Republicans are saying that there is, with the Doge investigations, that they are able to cut $50 billion out of Medicaid. Well, what about the $880 billion that you want to cut? I mean, I've heard of running cover for something, but I mean, what kind of cover are you giving us? You're telling us it's $50 billion in savings, but yet you're still wanting to cut $880 billion. So I appreciate AOC, hammering on this and staying out in front of this, because that is one of the few opposing voices we have to the tyrannical, fascistic robber baron coup that we're witnessing right in front of our faces. Don't believe your lying eyes, folks. Trust me, there's no corruption going on in here. No. The tax cuts, they're going to go to the right people. And trust me, you're middle-class people. You're going to get your tax cuts, too. You're going to get maybe $200-300 worth of savings. And, of course, we're going to jack up all the prices on everything. So good luck with that $200-300. But anyway, I really appreciate AOC staying out in front of this and keeping on hammering away. She is suggesting to people in red states that they should be calling their representatives to not vote for this thing. And she's absolutely right. I think I mentioned this in the past in regards to this, that with blue states, generally speaking, blue states have matching, all states have matching funds for Medicaid funding. It all comes through state funding. And what happens is, it has been happening in the past, that every dollar that you spend, like for instance, I live in New York City, so every dollar that is spent on Medicaid that is paid for by the state, the federal government will match that dollar. So it's a kind of a one-to-one thing. Every dollar that the state spends, the federal government will match it. But in places like, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Arkansas, Republican-run states, they tend to pay for about 30% through the state and 70% is funded through the government, which kind of tracks because, in the past they have spoken about, I love it when conservatives are, start talking about seceding from the union. But the thing is that, and they always say that, blue cities and blue states are the biggest moochers of federal funds. Honestly, no, it is not. Red states take more money in federal funds than blue states do. They have less money. They generate less wealth. They have less wealthy people in their state. And they tend to rely more heavily on the federal government as a red state. Whereas a blue state does rely on the federal government, but not quite as much. And blue states tend to pay more in federal tax dollars to the government than red states do, because generally speaking, like for instance in New York or in California, where, that's the devil, when you talk to a conservative, New Yorkers and Californians, they're all the devil. They're all social communists, welfare queen, yada yadas. But they pay more into federal income tax than red states do. Not just, in a gross amount, but also per capita. So when AOC is warning people in red states that have Medicaid, supplements for their health insurance, that they need to call into their representatives to say no to this bill, which I don't know if that's even going to happen. Most of the conservative representatives they're toeing the line, but she is, giving them a little bit of direction into who to aim your ire at when you stop getting funded by Medicaid. So anyway, good on you, AOC. Stay on it, and hopefully this won't be as bad as what they're saying. They're saying it's going to be in either 8 or 9 million people will be kicked off of Medicaid. And that's a shitload of people that are just not going to have health insurance. So, we should care about people. We really should. I mean, I know that in America we don't really do that, but God damn it, we really should be caring a little bit more about the people who are in the most need. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.